At what age did you decide to become a soldier?
17.
And
I was still in grade 11, I think, at the time, grade 10, 11, 12.
And
Yeah.
let me ask you, Stefan, what was the drive? What was I want to go hurt people, kill people, protect my country? Just what was I'm just curious.
I wanted a summer job.
Okay.
My mother said, well, your father enjoyed being in the reserve. Let's go take a look at it. So I was living in Hamilton at the time, and I went down to the Hamilton Armories, and there was no one there to talk to. So she said, well, there's another place down by the waterfront. So we went down there, and I got to the commissionaire gate, and he said, well, there's this place over here, there's this, there's that over at the red light. By the time I got back to the car, all I could remember was the red light. So I went to the red light, ended up joining a medical company. And that's how it all began. Just a summer job. That's all I wanted to do.
Okay.
I've been involved in I had done St. John's Ambulance, and I had also, after joining the military, part-time reservist, I went and did emergency medical care at Niagara College. And then I joined the regular force full-time after that. I guess part of me still understands the process of the medical system. I just, like myself now, it's like I don't do any prescription drugs if I don't have to. They're the last thing I will ever take, because the damage to my system is so extensive that even if I take an anti-inflammatory, it causes inflammation in my body. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow. Yes, yes.
Yeah, so it's like, everything is counterproductive. And that's ultimately what got me started, was realizing that I can't take another medication without facing certain death. I almost died on several medications. And this goes back to what you're saying just a little bit ago, it's no different than a drug addict, right? I was addicted to insulin. I was on insulin because I'm a type 2 diabetic and my blood sugars were skyrocketing. I was on metformin. I was on handfuls, and I'm not over exaggerating this, handfuls of anti-inflammatories and muscle relaxants. And then on top of that, I was also dealing with an anticonvulsant, which was managing my system, my brain and stuff like that. I mean, this cocktail that I was taking, I almost died several times from the drugs. And it was just like, okay, I got to stop this, right? So that's when I first did a supplement, which got me off of insulin in just under 3 months. And then I started in dietary change after that. And that's when I all of a sudden began to realize that my mental acuity was stepping up. And the more I did my diet routines and changed what I was doing and eating, the more pronounced my mental acuity and the less mental issues I was having. And that was the big change point. Was that, okay, man, you have to have an out. I'm not against using a medication. I'm against using a medication without an exit strategy.
Yes.
No one ought to be on a drug for the rest of their life, with very rare and few exceptions. Right?
Instinctually, though, we as humans want it like water. It's going to find the easiest way down the mountain always.
Yeah.
We, like an animal, animals don't just climb mountains all day. They find their easy ways. And it's even easier to take a pill, a beer. I'll give you precisely what you're saying is having this knowledge at a much younger age. How many years did you suffer and struggle with these copious amounts of where's my pills? But
25.
Okay, well,
25.
You're a 1%er. You made it through the shit.
Yeah.
There's another 100,000 people per you that have died, who have who beat their wife, who ended their life, who are still sitting in a room right now doing the same fucking shit. That's unacceptable. I look at my life back when I was 5 years old. My father burnt the house down when we were sleeping. And he got put in you're familiar with Penetang? Well, first he was in Kingston, and then he spent his entire life in Penetanguishene. And for anybody who has ever watching this, if we put it out there, Penetanguishene is an institute for the criminally insane. Copious amounts of pills for his being psychotic, manic depressive, schizophrenic was his title. They called him mentally ill. I'll tell you something right now. When people say the word mentally ill, I smile as I want to meet that person. Because when we take the word mentally ill and change it to mentally intelligent, there's so many people who are labeled ill when they're actually so freaking intelligent that most humans don't comprehend the level of thinking that they're at. So they're not ill, they're just operating on a different system, right? So, sorry, I kind of went off there. What I meant to get at was, after my father burnt the house down, through my years of growing up, very depressed, and I didn't even know what depressed was. I just know I didn't like life. I didn't like people. It was very sad. I missed my dad. I wanted my dad. And I used to, and I was prey in school. So I get bullied. I get pushed around. My skateboard, people would take it and throw it away on me, man, and I fucking hated school so bad, boy, let me tell you something. And to the point where it's just, I almost cry and hide on the way to going to school, that I just hated to be in this cage. Long story short, over the years of being bullied, picked on, not understanding why these emotions, why I didn't fit in, why people laughed at me, where's my dad? I got tired of being bullied, picked on. So I decided I'm going to become the motherfucking bully.
Yeah.
And I joined a street gang at 15 years old. And within 6 months, I have a slew of charges on top of my most recent one, which was I was looking at manslaughter at 15 years old. And I'm on the run for manslaughter. Well, I think this man, he's going to die. He's in the hospital. What the fuck have I done? I'm hiding out in an abandoned house. And these homeless guys, they give me a can. Let me tell you something. Since 5 years old, all the years, all that energy, all that adrenaline trapped in my system for 10 years, all went away on that exhale.
So this is no different than a military, highly trained person, right?
Yep.
Who has all kinds of skills. Think of it in terms on par with an NHL hockey player. You know what I mean?
Yep.
A performance-driven person. One day you can do it all. The next day you can't hold an interpersonal relationship. You can't function. Can't do any of these things. And the first thing we do is crash. And what we then get involved with is you start seeing exactly what you just described. I need the escape. What am I going to do? The alcohol, the drugs, behavioral problems, you name it. We lose it all. I've lost 4 children. I've only just met the youngest of my 4 children, the last of the 4, a few months back. And it's going to be a long haul in that recovery and getting to know her. And you know, these are the things that we lose, and we lose them because we are so, from the military perspective, we're used to be able to do this.
That's right.
Now all of a sudden we can't do it anymore, and it's like you've lost your identity. Right?
That's right.
And you know, I see the parallels so they just overlap. You know,
unknowingly to us, though, what's going on, what we'll go back to is upon that exhale, like you said, well, we find a drink or whatever. That exhale allowed my nervous system, for the first time in 10 years, it got to breathe. I got to take the shackles that have been around my throat for 10 years off. Now what the human body does, like, because we like the easy way, it naturally is magnetized to where it's safe, to where you're not thinking, where you're not hurting, where you're not struggling. And it's the second we start coming down and all that shit starts coming back, give me another one and another one and another one, because it's natural to go where it feels good, where you can breathe. If I put my hands around your damn throat, and you took a toke of something or a drink of something or took one pill, and that took both hands off for a second, why would the human ever even contemplate stopping taking those?
This is the same problem with the prescription drugs, right? Because it's the same simple solution. The only difference is someone is holding your hand, monitoring what you're taking. Well, they're supposed to be monitoring what you're taking. If you're like me, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to take what gets me the relief of pain.
Period. No matter what it takes.
I don't care how much it takes. This is why we're seeing the opioid crisis out in BC or across Canada even.
Absolutely.
Problem, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. You have to admit that, when we think about it, we're not living today. A sick human is good for business. We're not meant to dream, be free. Our freedom is just not free. If you're not putting money in the damn meter, forget about it. You're done. Your data is turned off. Your home is turned. So this is the way things are going. That's the saddest part, and that's why what we offer here with our camp is freedom, a chance to breathe. This is your drug. This is your nervous system going, everything is okay here.